All right, folks, here we go on this on this Friday before Columbus Day weekend. Yes. Gian says the audio is good. Gian's doing a fantastic job. Folks, we are live on what is this? We are live on. Oh. Oh, okay. Oh, no, I don't have any interest, but thank you for reaching out. All right, folks, we're going to start in just 3 minutes. 3 minutes. As a reminder, there's Debbie. Everybody doing a good job. Good afternoon, Brenda. Yep. Pat says the audio is good. That's good for me. There's Jane Rice. Yes. And of course, there's our queen. Now, folks, we will be riding with Cranston Police tonight. And then we'll see about the rest of the weekend. We shall see. There's supposed to be a lot of rain coming in, I believe. Quite a bit. Let me just double check. I think we're fine. If Gian says we're fine. Yeah, the audio is okay. Okay. How about these people? All right, enough talking about Pontiac's. And by the way, there's Richard. Hi there, Carrie. We're live in 2 minutes. 2 minutes out. 2 minutes out. There I am. Yes. News of the week. Let me just. There's Bruce, the birthday boy. Yep. Okay. Nope. Hold on. And we're going to begin in just a moment. It's turned into, boy, it was chilly last night, wasn't it? Excuse me. But it's turned into it's very nice outside. This is actually good football weather. What is that? Oh, okay. That's a nice shot. Let me use that. Let me see. Go like that. And then we're going to go like this. Okay. And we are ready to begin. There's Garney. Yes, folks, don't forget. Yes, thank you, Janet Dwyer. Well, it was a big week breaking that story. Yep, there's Bill. Folks, again, Road Patrol Live tonight. Thank you, Chris. Prefer one, John, but prefer one. But thank you very much, Janet Dwyer. 8 o'clock, we're riding with the Cranston Police. You know, as much as I always, whenever someone refers to you as a last name, I always view that as a negative. And I'll give you an example as we begin our live program here on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. But especially growing up with an Italian last name, such as, let's just say, Harry Brown is Chris Day. If you have a man just, Day, get in my office. Well, that's not positive. Or if someone said, hey, Day, can I talk to you? Day, my business. Yes, selfish. Yes. The last name reference, it's always a negative. So I'm not sure how to interpret that. And maybe sometimes people say things and they're not aware of the ramifications. And I'll give you a good example. Something that most people would know, but a lot of people don't realize, is that when a couple gets engaged, the proper greeting for the bride the now engaged fiance. But the proper greeting or salutation would be best wishes, or I'm so happy for the two of you. But you don't say congratulations. Congratulations infers congratulations to the bride. You got somebody to propose to you. I actually watched the video of Taylor Swift on with Jimmy Fallon. I can't believe what a mess Jimmy Fallon is. Yeah, I don't watch that. He is a mess. He is an absolute disaster. And he was trying to do a game where, and Taylor Swift, all you have to do is just say, she's got a new album, the incredible tour. She's now engaged to Travis Kelce. Jimmy Fallon, no wonder no one is like, who's watching that? I never watched that stuff. It is a train wreck. He was trying to do a game with her of like a rumor. Oh, yeah, I'm sure she loves to hear about fake rumors about her. He's just an idiot. I can't believe what an idiot he is. And all the laughing and giggling. I don't watch that. Boy, that is a long way from what I remember as the Tonight Show. What an absolute train wreck. All right. I also want to, I'm going to touch on some people that are interviewing. It's too bad I don't have access to some of these people. I'm not saying her per se, but I want to give another good example in just a moment. Folks, this portion of the program, though, and they were out late, and they were, oh my God, Jimmy Fallon, what a disaster he is. So, but you don't greet someone by their last name. That's not, well, no one calls me that. You know who calls me that? People are not friendly with me. I want to remind you about PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. I mean, what a beautiful afternoon plus tomorrow. Homegrown mums and kale, just outstanding. They have fall decorations, pumpkins, straw bales, cornstalks, gourds, Indian corn, native vegetables. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Now, we've had a big week on our website, which is depetro.com. And I admit, I'm a little thrown. To me, that's a passive-aggressive defense. There are some people that come on and they basically, all right, and this is just last night, yesterday. Enough about Pontic Anson. Who comes up with these headlines? And listen, those headlines are very clever. That is our crew at depetro.com. I think the headline, as I've stated, it's not for everyone. I love the headlines of the New York Post and the other tabloids, by the way. Really, I don't know whether it started in this country, it started in the UK. The UK tabloids have that. Granted, when I lived in New York, it would be funny when you had a big story and you'd go by a newsstand, and it was obviously the New York Post, which I still think they have the best headlines. Plus, used to be Newsday, plus the Daily News. I don't know so much about the other two anymore, but the New York Post always has just had great headlines. I think they're funny. And when we do it, it's a little bit of a tribute to that. Drudge Report has great headlines. So I like that. And so we throw it. It's a little bit different. It's something that we add. Our crew at depetro.com does a fantastic job with them. So, yes, that's right. So, but folks, we check it all out. I don't understand the soft defense on it's a passive. All right, enough. First of all, I hate that attitude. But let me just get through. depetro.com, brought to you by the Cowesett Inn, 226 Cowesett Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner. Who said drinks in the lounge? They're waiting for you at the Cowesett Inn. Now, let me do one more, and then I'll get into my diatribe here. And I will. We do have an update on it. I don't know. I never understand the people that I hate that attitude. I hate these people. Like who, what? And I always have to be careful of replying because then people, they jump on that. But like what could I have possibly said to give you the false impression that anybody cares what you think? When anybody cares what you think, why would you think that? That you put it in, that's it, no more talking about this. It's, I hate to do the gender thing. A lot of times it is a female, though. And I think it is either, it's either someone that considers themselves a lot, this goes on in the schools, but they think of themselves as like the mother hen, or they were the babysitter, or they're the boss of the house. And it's this attitude of, that's it. No more posting about that story. There's to be no more talking about this story. As if anyone would listen to that. Hey, listen, I'll tell you what, mother hen, hag bag. I'll worry about the content that I put out on our platforms. Okay, you worry about your own pathetic little life, but never think, if in some way I gave you the impression that your opinion is valued, I greatly apologize. Folks, Propane Plus, call them today in Rhode Island, 401-885-4209, always online, always online. Someone said to me, yeah, but is the website 7 days a week? The website's not just 9 to 5. Are there people that still think these things? Yes, 24/7. All right, you can't log on in the middle of the night. Yes. I do like when people ask questions that it's things I never would have thought of. People think that the certain parts of the internet aren't active at certain times of the day. It's not a store. It's not a liquor store that closes at 10 o'clock, or Dave's that closes at 9. No, propaneplus.com. 7 days a week, 24 hours. What about Christmas? I don't know how else to explain it. 7 days a week, 24 hours. Why would you be contacting them about propane on Christmas? But anyhow, residential, commercial, heating or cooling, you can depend on Propane Plus. 401-885-4209 or 508-252-3359 for Propane Plus. Now, in regards to and maybe I'll just explain it. I don't understand some of these people that I would describe as running kind of passive aggressive cover for the teacher. We have these bosses that don't want it discussed anymore. Listen, we're going to follow the story because there's several things that are going to happen with this story. Now, let's play it out a little bit. Let's just say it's a tremendous misunderstanding. If that were the case, number one, I don't think she would have resigned. And I'm talking about the gym teacher. And listen, we have photos. Here's another thing. I don't get these hag bags saying, that's an older photo. What on earth do you care what photo you use? I just don't understand these people and where this comes from. My problem is I'm too nice. I'm too nice, and I give people the impression, apparently, that their opinion really matters. As I have stated, we've been doing this for a while. I have a pretty good handle on it. Now, both her and the husband have taken down their Facebook pages. So we were able to lift it while they were still up. Why should that dominate your view of the story? But let's just play this out just for our purposes. It's a tremendous misunderstanding. Okay, if that were the case, number one, I don't think she would have resigned unless she's saying, even though it's not true, out of complete humiliation, I'm going to resign. But there's more to it that I haven't gotten into. Some of the other news outlets, mainly the Valley Breeze and whoever that lady is that has some other website. I don't know who it is. Northern Rhode Island or something. So, but she was just relying on the superintendent as a source, and I think the state police. We have other sources. That are very confident. But let's just say I haven't gotten into the whole thing. I haven't. With, she is married. He is a teacher. There's some talk that he even is cooperating with this in some fashion. But just to put this in perspective, let's go complete misunderstanding, fabricated, all made up. Number one, I don't think you. Number one, you don't resign, and number two, here's what I want to explain to people: there would be no state police investigation now, and stay with me on this. Some people don't understand this. This happens all the time. Someone calls police, any police force. If you call the police and say, I went out to get my mail and my neighbor looked at me in a threatening manner and I'd like to, make a record of it. The police can't just hang up. The police have to go out and take a report and probably contact the neighbor. Now, right there, the police could talk to the neighbor and the neighbor could say, no, it was sunny. I was squinting. I wasn't giving them a threatening look. I don't know what they're talking about. And it could be a woman who's just, in her bathroom, what have you. My point is, then state police say, went out to the address, spoke to the complainant, spoke to the neighbor. The neighbor said, I don't know what they're talking about. I didn't have my glasses on. I was squinting, but I wasn't looking at anybody threatening. And that's the end of it. But that's not what happened here. That's not what happened here. There is a state police investigation. So now, as I've stated, we don't know, is this going to turn into, I would think that goes to a grand jury. There's a process. She'd have to be indicted. Then she's arraigned. Then they go for the whole plea situation. They always plead not guilty. And then, then the case begins. But make no mistake about it. This is not, and I just want to be clear about that. This is not, yeah, that's right. These people that are not fully paying attention to the news. There was someone that was, her name escapes me. She was trying to defend me, but she actually posted on the page. Shame on those people that thought that Juan was making it up. That never even occurred to me. And I don't even need to see that. If there's someone out there that saw what we posted, and then their takeaway was, I think he's making it up. I don't even want to engage with those people. I was unaware. I don't interact with people like that. They can't point to an example where that happened. So, but just to play it out, like Melissa's the one that put that. Like, I'm actually stunned by that. Like, and again, I already know. Okay, now it was in the Valley Breeze, right? Now it's Channel 10, Channel 12. Those individuals, they never come back and say, I guess I was wrong. Never. So now they'll say, she'll never be convicted. But it never occurred to me that there were people, how can I describe it? People that have that type of, like at this point, do I really have to go through we're riding tonight with Cranston Police. In April, May, and June, I was on national TV more than anyone else in our area, over 50 times. I'm going to be on Newsmax on Sunday. We do national programs. The entire spring, May and June, I was on Court TV every morning, every night. I was on Fox every week. You think I'm going to post, I'm going to make up a story about a gym teacher in Pontiac and put her name and photo, and it's all made up like that? That is, I didn't realize that there are people like that think that type of thing. Maybe I shouldn't be shocked. So, and I get it also that, a lot of the subscribers know, that, we go through different levels of threat levels. And right now, there are people that are very angry because I support ICE. And the amount of messages and threats, and they just come at you. Smear campaign. I get messages from people. I was just reading you were just arrested last week. I wasn't arrested last week. Like, what are you talking about? Don't you think that'd be in the news? Don't you think that'd be listed somewhere? Wouldn't I know that? It must have been. It was a secret, and I don't even know. Like, it's just moronic. And as far as ICE, I feel about ICE the same way I feel about the FBI, the same way I feel about the IRS, the same way I feel about Homeland Security, the same way I feel about state police, Cranston Police, Warwick Police. They have a job that they're assigned to, and they're going after very dangerous individuals. Now, I fully get that, and it's a lot of the same. Um, a lot of the people that seemingly bash ICE are also, a lot of them, they actually are Americans, but they're just part of this lawlessness that they embrace. So many of the people, even though they may actually be American citizens, for whatever reason, they embrace the crew and try to depict them as though somehow they're, under fire, so to speak. So there's been a lot of that, and you could see it. Last Saturday night we were out Road Patrol Live, and then as I'm filming, I mean, it never ceases to amaze me. We had 11 cruisers in front of a house, River Avenue at Truckstone. 11 police cars on a Saturday night at 9:00. The street was blocked off. And these goons come over. What do you think I'm filming? It's not one car. It's not someone reporting a cat in a tree. It's very active. So, what are you filming? And then they try to shut it down. Listen, I get it. They're uneducated. They leave school early. They are a menace to society. They're also most likely going to be a burden on society. Rhode Island embraces this welfare state mentality of everything's free, don't worry, we'll give you everything for free health care, free government housing, free, food stamps, or now we call them, they get the EBT cards. You're not helping those people. You're enabling them. What are you filming? As they all cover their faces like goons. Good Lord. I do want to talk about also, I'm going to touch on the, since I mentioned Jimmy Fallon, and it's a Friday, I also want to talk about the Charlie Sheen media tour. Folks, this portion of our program, though, is brought to you by Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. Listen, call Corey, get your garage epoxied. It makes a huge difference. 401-283-9815. They will resurface. They epoxy garages and patios, decorative concrete flooring. They could resurface a pickleball court, tennis court. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. 401-283-9815. Listen, free estimate. It's really simple. Call them and tell them you'd like to find out how he could epoxy your garage or patio or decorative concrete flooring. 401-283-9815. Quality Asphalt Seal Coating. I admit that, yes, thank you very much, Bill. I admit, though, I freely admit, it is the crowd that was trying to intimidate, get me to stop filming. I'll admit, it is embarrassing to me that they even know who I am. I admit that. It is. There's nothing I can do about it. The ones that came over, and they are, as I've also described, the three goons that were trying to intimidate, block my view, get me that I couldn't film. They knew exactly, if you saw it, they knew exactly who I was. But what you need to know is that, they wouldn't know Vice President J.D. Vance if he was standing in front of them. I don't think they would know who Obama is. They wouldn't know. They would probably know President Trump, but they probably wouldn't know Governor McKee. They wouldn't know Seth Magaziner. They wouldn't know a variety of the national figures I could name, but they do know who I am. And that's the burden. That's the cross that the chosen one must bear. It's just it is a problem with Road Patrol Live that the show has actually become too popular in some ways. Doesn't mean we're going to end it, but admittedly, it does become a little more challenging. As I've stated, these are individuals. It's just so whack to me. They don't follow the news. A lot of them are actually illiterate. I'd be willing to bet the ones that were in front of me, there's far more illiteracy than people even realize. And if you didn't have talk to text, there'd be no communicating. But it is, we joke about it, as Eric says, with the command center, like they know you because you're the only one that goes into the neighborhood. They wouldn't know any of the local media. Isn't that right? When you think about it, they wouldn't know one reporter at the Providence Journal. They wouldn't know one writer for the Boston Globe. They don't know one reporter at Channel 10 or 12 or 6. Forget about anybody on the radio. They wouldn't know Vice President Vance. They wouldn't know Pete Hegseth. They wouldn't know Kristi Holm or Tom Holman. But they know who I am. And I'm not saying that in bragging fashion. I never realized, yeah, that's right. They would know Bad Bunny. Holy cow. But let me just take schedule, because there is something else I just want to quickly touch on, and I think Henry B will like it. But folks, I want to remind you, I'll tell you about Kids Club, why so many people love Kids Club on the Pike. Now, I want to appeal to parents. If you're thinking of having a birthday party, or maybe it's a team celebration, flag football, or cheerleading squad, or fall ball, or soccer, a lot of the fall sports, Kids Club on the Pike, it's perfect for that. The kids will love it. You can have food. There's games. It's designed and built for children. Kids Club on the Pike. Where are they located? Right off of 295. So easy to get to. Cranston Johnston line. You can call them 401-443-5336. But wait, they also have before and after school care. So why not explore them for them, or even preschool, half and full day program for preschool children, 3 through 5. But before and after school care, they provide transportation for aftercare, school-age children, ages 5 through 12. Kids Club on the Pike. Everyone I refer to them, they love it. And again, they're located right on Plainfield Pike. You know what else I want to do them? Yeah, that's right. They would know. That's true. They would know Bad Bunny, who did not stand during God Bless America the other night at Yankee Stadium. But I want to just touch on, I mentioned, like, to me, I don't see a lot of that. Admittedly, I freely admit my viewing habits all day long, I just have on Fox. That's it. From the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. I don't sit in front of it all day, but it's just always on. I don't watch Jimmy Kimmel. I don't watch Colbert. I think he's smug. I don't watch Fallon. I also believe that I loved watching Johnny Carson growing up. I liked Leno. I loved Letterman. I really liked Letterman. I didn't think Conan was that great, but I've watched Conan sometimes, and he can be entertaining. But this crew, they're activists. They're not even comedians so much. But what I wanted to mention was, so like Jimmy Fallon, how do you screw up an interview with Taylor Swift? They introduced, we're going to play a game. It was, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I could not, okay. I can't believe what I was, Gutfeld, yeah. But a lot of times I'm editing more. But I will have that on. And obviously, because my daughter, one of my children works at Fox, and, obviously knows Gutfeld and so forth. But my point is, another one. So Charlie Sheen has a recent book out, and it's tough to watch some of the people interviewing him. I saw Charlie Sheen interviewed. That's one of those situations. I wish I had a bigger platform or was been a big city, because that would be a really good interview. Just if you just let him talk. But I watched Charlie Sheen interviewed by Joe Rogan. And Rogan, of course, he has this thing. No, he didn't read the book. And he didn't watch. There's a Netflix special. I didn't really like the Netflix special on Charlie Sheen. But the Rogan thing, I realize the whole reason Joe Rogan, because I would think, who's going to watch 2.5-hour interview? 2.5 hours. But then I realized the whole reason they do such a lengthy interview is just to try to get 5 minutes. He's another one. He started talking about the JFK, the Kennedy assassination with Charlie Sheen. Like, what are you doing? Just have him talk about what was life like living in Beverly Hills after Platoon and Wall Street came out, and then just sit back. You know, the stuff that he talks about, how the whole winning thing came up in Tiger Blood. And I mean, it's really interesting. Of course, Rogan had no idea what he was talking about. Rogan's become Larry King. Larry King would famously, to me, they try to say, I just want to approach it fresh. I think it's a little lazy. But Rogan did not see the Netflix special, didn't read the book. So you just leave a lot on the table. And there's some stuff of the Charlie Sheen stuff that I don't know. I mean, then you find out when he was doing so much crack, he was then also with guys, and it's like, oh, okay, I didn't know he was like a total nut job. But again, really good stories about how that whole thing came about. But then I saw Megyn Kelly interviewed him. She was almost flirting with him, I thought. But they talk too much. You don't need to talk. Just let them talk. Just give them the platform and ask questions, and let them talk. But anyhow, let me stay on track here. But that's the point that I wanted to say was, like, I used to listen when Stern would do a very long interview. And a long interview at the time was maybe an hour and a half. And then at the end, he'd say, there's nothing more to be said and so on. But then you find even within that, you only can pull like 7 to 10 minutes of good content. And the rest of it is, Stern's another one. I mean, he would be interviewing people from Seinfeld, and then you realize, oh, wow, he's never actually watched Seinfeld, which I find impossible. So I'm not saying you got to, go through every inch of it, but I have found it makes for a better interview if you have some reference to what they're talking about or things that really stand out. There's a reason why certain things make it into a book and a reason why certain things don't make it into a book. That's right. I have one speed. Go. Yes. So, all right, let me get on track because I do want to talk about what's going on with this government shutdown. There's a couple different, I think there's a couple different takes on this whole thing. But let me also just sum up. Now, where do things stand? We're going to wait for new developments with the gym teacher in Pontiac. Many times, if you don't have a new development, the story then just hits a wall. So I think the story's not over, but we're going to wait until some more information comes out on that story. But now, if they investigate the state police and they say, I thought it was very good to go through Murphy yesterday that unless they can prove that was happening when any of these boys were 15, again, she may lose the job. There could be some other type charges, but it's certainly not as serious as, and I know some people don't understand that, but just criminally is a world of, it is. If someone 15 to 16, I'm not sure exactly what type of charges they're going to have. Again, I'm not arguing, as we tried to explain yesterday. I'm not saying it's inappropriate. I'm not saying the school can't have something like that. But just as far as the allegations are that it started with at least one student when he was under the age of 16. So that remains to be seen. But something tells me that that story is certainly nowhere near over. I think that could just be starting. That'll just go to different waves of it. Folks, this portion of our program is brought to you by ServPro. ServPro of Providence. Call them today. Now remember, if you ever have a disaster, maybe you have a fire, right? Or a flood, or smoke damage, or mold. ServPro of Providence. That's who I would call. 401, there's their phone number, 941-5500. I'll tell you why. They're fast, they're thorough, they're professional. ServPro of Providence, 401-941-5500. When disaster hits, you need heroes. Not all heroes wear capes. ServPro of Providence, 24/7. Tackling fire, water, storm, mold. ServPro of Providence, 401-941-5500. Charlie Sheen, I've yet to hear one person mention, he had that great line during the Heidi Fleiss trial where he took the stand. Heidi Fleiss was, the big madam in Beverly Hills, and she'd written in the past that a lot of her workers, they love Charlie Sheen, and she sent him over, and he gave them a ton of blah 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 and that type of thing. He testified in the Heidi Fleiss trial, Charlie Sheen, and at the time he had that great line where he's on the stand. This is Charlie Sheen now, and they asked him, is it true that you would pay these women for their services? And he said, no, that is not true. I wouldn't pay them for their services. I'd pay them to leave immediately after their services. So, I've yet to hear one person. That is like a classic line that rocketed across media. I don't know why, with all these interviews, that no one is asking that. But now I also want to touch on a serious note. This situation. So Pontiganson, huge story for the week. For right now, it's off to the side. But I also want to mention right now, the Trump administration, they're saying that they're going to now start to get rid of some of these federal workers because of the lockout, and they're going to start to go through some of the federal workers. What I think you understand, folks, much like the state of Rhode Island, think of all the different, for instance, there's so many people that have a state job, Rhode Island and Massachusetts, that are not necessary. And it's 10 times that, 100 times that with the federal government. So I have no problem if they start, working down. I would have zero problem if Governor McGreed, if he announced, as a result of what's going on, we're going to have to get rid of some of the state workers. What would be the bad news? Do you realize Rhode Island has double the workforce, state workers, double of New Hampshire? Double. Same size. Actually, New Hampshire's a bigger state. Basically, same population. New Hampshire's a bigger state. Obviously, their winters are worse. They're in the snow business. They do a lot of winter tourism. New Hampshire is half the number of state workers than Rhode Island. And they have half the budget. New Hampshire does their budget every 2 years. Rhode Island government is too big and too bloated. But Governor McKee hiding the report. Governor McKee also, as I posted, he is now going after President Trump. And let's talk facts just for a moment. The real reason why, and to me, this is what turns people off with government. It's the worst part of politics. Governor McKee, Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, and Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, for that matter. But McKee issued a statement yesterday. The whole reason, I'm just going to focus on the Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee for a moment. The whole reason why he is now taking shots and talking tough, and I'm not intimidated by Trump and this other stuff. The whole reason he's doing that is to try to solidify his base within the Democrat Party to get reelected. To me, that is the worst form of politics, because there's nothing productive about it, and there's nothing gained from it. And I'm not even convinced he believes a lot of the things that he says about President Trump. But I think that it's just so damaging, and there's nothing efficient about it. There's nothing to be admired. But Governor McKee is finding that every time he takes a swipe at the president, some of his poll numbers go up a little bit. So I don't think it's productive. I don't think it solves anything. It sounds very political. Now, folks, on this Friday, as we're about to enter a nice Columbus Day 3-day weekend, joining us right now, folks, she is the queen. She is, I thought I had it. I thought I just heard her. All right, there she is, joining us right now. Is the Queen of Health, and it's Marie. Good afternoon, Marie.
Hi, John, I guess I was hiding somewhere, huh?
Yeah, that's right. I got you. Take us inside. It's My Health, Queen of Health.
Well, I thought we've talked before. First of all, definitely start getting ready for cold season. We've ordered it's a homeopathic remedy called Influenzinum. So they're little pellets that you take once a week for a month, and then once a month through flu season. It's made from whatever the CDC decides is going to be in the flu shot, but this is done in a homeopathic remedy. So I have a number of people who really like that. It's on order, will be here by the end of the month. So anyone who's interested in that. And, just being ready. I already just had somebody in. I just Lysoled everything, who had a really bad cold. So there are a lot of people, who are already starting to get hit with colds and coughs. So we do have things for that. But I mostly wanted to talk about sleep and relaxation, because the anxiety is high everywhere for all kinds of reasons, from sickness to politics to whatever. And so a lot of people take melatonin. I'm not a huge fan, but a lot of people really do like it. We do have things that have the magnesium. Some things do have melatonin in them. If you like cherries, eating a few cherries before bed, or taking a liquid, we have a nice concentrate of tart cherry juice that has a natural melatonin to it, so it does help people sleep. Magnesium, the magnesium glycinate is very, very popular for rest, for sleep, for muscles. If you get restless leg or anything, it can be really helpful. I use it, helps a lot. Some people put the magnesium together with the tart cherry juice at night and have a nice little drink of that before going to bed, and it can help them sleep. And magnesium also comes in gummies for those who don't like to swallow pills or don't like to drink anything too much before they go to bed. So we do have things that can help. We have other products as well. Sometimes it's a bit of trial and error to see what works, but we all do need our sleep. The days are getting shorter, which means we are supposed to sleep more. We're supposed to rest more now, going into the fall and the winter time. So we should be taking heed with that. Well, that's my shtick for today.
That cherries at night can help one.
Yeah, cherries have a natural melatonin.
Melatonin, wow. What do you have on tap tomorrow, Super Saturday at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland?
So we will be here. We will have a Pilates. We will have yoga class. Tonight we have a very big event. A local guy, Roland Comtois, most people know him. We have a full house tonight with people coming to see him. He's a medium. So people get some, really They really enjoy him. He's coming again in November. So if you've missed him and it's something you want to do, you can call us. We do have seats still available for November, but we do sell out fast. He's very, very popular.
Wow. And what about, talk a little bit about some of the yoga?
So a nice, gentle, meditative yoga, excuse me, called Amrit Yoga is what we have on Saturday mornings. It's a really nice way to start the day. And the Pilates class is more of a stretch kind of class. Really nice, but that yoga is really, really nice. And people who've never done it before, it's a good way to be introduced to yoga, or people who have a lot of issues, maybe hip issues, knee issues, shoulder issues. It's very gentle. There are postures, but there's always alternatives to do. And it's very gentle, and it really does calm your mind as well.
I love it. Folks, she is the queen of health. It's Marie at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. Marie, keep up the good work. You have so many fans out there. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, John. Have a great weekend.
All right, folks, there it is. Marie at It's My Health, 1099 Mendon Road in Cumberland. You know, it's funny. I just saw that from Cindy. I worked for a nationwide company. Every year there were personnel cuts as needed to meet budget. Changes are necessary when not promised a job. You know what's interesting about that, Cindy, is think of at the Rhode Island State House, they have even more employees than they did 10 years ago. Think of the companies that maybe you worked at in the past, and they would have all kinds of different positions, sales assistants, secretaries, whatever types of jobs like that. The number of companies that have downsized, that have centralized. The Rhode Island State House, and that they actually have more workers, much more workers than they had even 10 years ago. And you know what else? You're exactly right, Cindy, but that's also part of the problem where they have chased the private sector away in the state. But folks, another thing I don't hear anyone talk about is you hear about AI and you hear about the different companies that you watch over the next 5 years, the next 10 years, as they start to utilize AI. And you're not going to need all these workers. The question is, is Rhode Island state government going to start to utilize AI? Is the federal government going to start to utilize AI? I mean, there is no reason why you need all those people. And I want to just give an example. I remember, and this is even going back a couple of years, but let's just say at the Rhode Island State House, they had, and for some reason I remember the number, they had it was like 650 people that worked there every single day. Now, you think of, whether it's computers or different ways to streamline information, how that number, if that was a private company, in the blink of an eye, they could be, down at least 50 jobs, maybe more. The Rhode Island State House, they keep adding jobs. If anything, they're probably closer to 700 now. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Think of different companies that years ago they had different branches. Then they announced they're going to centralize everything. And they're going to close a branch. And then the people, what do they have to do? They have to adapt to that. But they don't do that in our local government. So they're guaranteed, and the union is guaranteed a certain number of jobs. And so, they stay at that, and then they just keep trying to add a lot of jobs. And with so many of the union jobs they add, what do you think they have in their union contract is a no layoff clause. So you can't even get rid of them if you wanted to. I want to give credit to Ted. Asked me who is it that I recommend with the landscape materials. Ted, contact Watson Materials. You can call Sean, request a quote. It is one thing about Watson that I can speak to is it is the Watson Materials. It is true. It's the most complete selection of landscape materials in Rhode Island. And you can call them and request a quote, 401-885-0600. But they have it all, whether it's landscape lighting, pavers, retaining walls, natural stone, cobblestone, Watson Materials, 401-885-0600, 401-885-0600 for Watson Materials. And they do a terrific job. Let me also just, there are some people that have great companies, and I'd like to recommend them to you. Starting with, you could always use a good plumber. J&B Plumbing, coming over tomorrow. I think we have some clogged pipes. I'm not sure. 401-743-9153. Jim is great. They can repair damaged water pipes. They can repair a clogged pipeline. I hope not. They could replace a water heater. Any plumbing work, JMB Plumbing, 401-743-9153. Now, I also want to mention, obviously in the nice weather, I like to sit outside. What's the problem with sitting outside in the warm months, especially at night? You get bit. And I'm the type I attract, because my blood type, I attract mosquitoes. It is life-changing once I found and contacted Mosquito Joe, Rhode Island. And they're so thorough. And, little things. You get the heads up, we're going to be out tomorrow. We're going to treat the property. They come. I'm telling you, I had people over. You sit outside, no mosquitoes, none. This past spring, summer, I did not get one mosquito bite sitting outside on my deck at my home. Not one. No off, no spraying any of that stuff. And I'll tell you, but they're fantastic. Mosquito Joe, Rhode Island, they just basic way that they run their company is first rate. They're pros. 401-426-2032. Mosquito Joe, Rhode Island. Who else did I want to mention? Fall cleanup. JD Lawn Care Tree Service. They do a fantastic job. Call them today. 401-441-0154. JD Lawn Care Tree Service. They're another one. They do a fantastic job. Now, folks, obviously, the big international story, seemingly, is that President Trump has now forged a peace between Hamas and Israel. I don't know what to make of that they're not giving him the Nobel Peace Prize. But I think of Mother Teresa that said, you're going to do nice things. People may not acknowledge it. Do it anyway. But let me just say, Nobel snub. Who are they giving it to, if not him? He is the peace president. Trump threatens China. Some of the, who's really lost her mind is Candace Owens. I don't know what her deal is. She's now saying that Charlie Kirk came to her in a dream and whispered to her that he was betrayed. Looks like I'm not the only one using Ladybug. Nope. I don't know what to make of it. We will be with the Cranston Police tonight. Road Patrol Live. We also get in. Rhonda asked me about, Rhonda's a veteran. Rhonda, thank you for your service. And she wanted to ask me, her husband heard mention the company does a special package for veterans to get the driveway paved. And it's J. Perry Paving. That is true. They have a special package for veterans. Letter J Perry Paving. Call them 401-732-1730. They're another one, free estimate. When I'm dealing with them, I always specify, listen, there has to be a free estimate. Has to be a free estimate. Somebody can't hear me talk about it, come out, and then they're getting hit with whatever type of bills. Got to be a free estimate. But if you're a veteran, they have a great package. Or if, maybe you're not a veteran, but maybe your dad's a veteran, maybe your mom's a veteran, or your son or boyfriend, girl, whoever. But high quality, fair pricing, free estimate, but they do a great job. You know what that veteran would love? That veteran would love to get their driveway paved. 401-732-1730, letter J. It's J Perry Paving. And remember, free estimate, any project is J Perry Paving. Well, folks, I hope everyone has I don't know what to make. Some of you may remember we had Candace Owens on the show many years ago. Yeah. Mormon Underground, insanity. She was also trying to blame Israel. I had her on the show a long time ago. I also had Michelle Melkin on the show. I don't know what Michelle Malkin's doing these days. At one point, Michelle Malkin was all over Fox. And then I don't know what happened. And then she kind of fell off. But Candace Owens, because she attended URI, I think, for a year, a semester. I had Candace Owens on. It was a while ago. I don't remember exactly. She had a new book out, but she is really going off the deep end. That's a different one. Charlie Kirk came to her in a dream and told her that he was betrayed from within. It's all made up. None of that is true. We know who did it. It was, the shooter with the trans boyfriend. We already have that. I don't know why they're trying to, well, I do know why. It's for money. They're trying to introduce conspiracy. Folks, I loathe the conspiracy crowd. I just do. Because it's too demented for me. I can't stand it. I can't. All right. We'll see you later tonight. Road Patrol Live. We'll be riding with the Cranston Police. Thank you, everyone, for a very memorable week. Visit the website, depetro.com. Thank you to Gian. If you're listening to the radio, stay tuned for the 2 o'clock news. Everyone else, we'll see you later tonight on Road Patrol Live.